All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Fernando Andrew Thompson. I go by my middle name Andrew. Thank you for joining me today on this topic of discussion. The topic is going to be on free college tuition. This is something that I'm very passionate about. It's something that has affected me personally my entire life. Something that I've never quite understood is why we students have to deal with. We have free college tuition for other countries, but why not for America? I've never understood why so other countries can do it and why we haven't done it yet. Countries that have free college tuition is Sweden, Denmark, most countries throughout Europe do. I keep questioning myself, why have we not implemented these things as they have to make the lives better for every college student? So for me, from my personal background, I grew up in a low-income family. Financially, this has affected, my overall status tremendously. My parents divorced at a very young age, leaving my mother as a single mother. Her having to provide for a family of four, her ranging from about 25 to 30K a year. This is something that, it seems impossible, but she was able to achieve. I don't know how. I love her to this day for doing so. But when it comes to the time of graduation of high school, I completed it. I said, Mom, I want to go to college. How am I going to achieve this? And she said, you have to do it. You can do it on your own because I can't help you. But I said, you're right. I'm going to do this. I got this. So what I did, as soon as I got a job. I work full time and I go to school full time. It's something that many, many students do. I chose to go to a 2-year college in the beginning, then transfer to university afterwards. Currently, I'm working on my nursing degree. After that, I'm going to do MA and then my NP, which is nurse practitioner. That's my interim goal. But there's many challenges that I have to overcome, financially specifically. This is something that has affected me and thousands of other students having to work full-time just to be able to pay their tuition, just so they can go to school as well. So that lifestyle balance is, 1 or 2. It's not very easy. It's very rough to deal with. On average, 83% of Americans cannot even afford to send their children, or the kids themselves cannot afford to go to college whatsoever. This is something that they shouldn't have to do. They shouldn't have to deal with an issue like this. 79% of Americans as well, families specifically, have to stretch their financial needs out just so they can send their child to school. The average debt is about $39,000 once a student is finished with school, and that's something that as soon as you're done with college, you don't have to pay off your debt. You want to be able to enjoy your life, enjoy your degree, enjoy something that you work so hard to achieve. Why is this something that we have to, sell one arm for? I mean, we have to literally give an arm just to go to school. And sometimes people give an arm and a leg. Universities can go up to $100,000. It's not cheap whatsoever. This is something that has affected so many students like myself. And I'm not too sure why we haven't implemented something like this or looked at how this can be achievable in our country. Throughout Europe, again, many countries implement free college tuition. Denmark, Europe, Sweden. We should use them as an example. Kind of use their policies and kind of make up our own. See what works for us best. But again, so this type of law would impact millions. There would be no excuse for students to not be able to go to school anymore. I myself almost made that excuse myself, saying I can't do it. I can't go to school because I can't afford it. But I said, you know what? I'm gonna work. I'm gonna do it as best as I can. God will provide. But again, no student should have to make the decision of having to work for a few years, then going to school, putting his life on hold just because he can't afford it, or having to take out a tremendous amount of money just in order to get what he wants in life, just a degree, just to work and what they love to do. And this is something that we need to look at as Americans ourselves, as we have this view of anything achievable. Well, not necessarily. Thousands of people are affected by this, and it's something that needs to be changed immediately and looked at. One candidate that recently was in the election is Bernie Sanders, who I was voting for. He was pro free college tuition. I agreed on his policies. He held some great policies on pro college tuition being free. This is something that we need to look at. I think this is something that we can achieve if we work together, because it impacts the lives of millions of students. But again, thank you for hearing me out today. This is something that I am passionate about. If you have any questions, let me know. You have a question? Oh, okay. So how are we gonna achieve that? How do other countries in Europe achieve that? Okay, so a simple policy is healthcare. So other countries implement also universal healthcare. What they do that is by taxing the higher wealthy, just a bit more tad. I think this is something that it seems fair to those. I myself, if I was making over $100,000, I wouldn't be mind taxed just a little bit, knowing so that I can afford to send my kids later on in college. I believe it is over $125,000. Individuals who make over that will be taxed a tad more in the end of the year. And it's something that I think a little implementation can impact millions of people, just something small as that. And that is something that method they use over Europe for their healthcare system. They also use that for their pro college tuition being free. This is something that we can use as an example. I'm not saying we have to use that exact policy, but this is something that we can go and build our foundation off of. But again, thank you for the questions. Again, this is going to conclude our speech. Thank you for tuning in again, and hopefully I kind of convince you a little bit more on this. Thank you.